Jack Harlow watched in horror as the lunar colony exploded. The Vexari warships hung in space like giant metal sharks, their weapons still glowing hot. Thousands of people had just died. His wife and daughter were down there. "Commander, we need to evacuate now," said his second-in-command, Frank Wells. "More enemy ships incoming." Jack couldn't move. The observation deck of Research Station Artemis gave him a perfect view of humanity's destruction. Flames and debris scattered across the lunar surface where the colony had stood for 30 years. "Sir, please, we have 5 minutes before they reach us." Jack snapped back to reality. "Sound the alarm. Get everyone to the escape shuttles." Red lights flashed as they ran through the station's corridors. People screamed and pushed toward the hangar bay. No one had expected an alien attack. No one even knew aliens existed until 6 hours ago when the massive fleet appeared near Jupiter. "Who are they? Why are they doing this?" asked a young scientist as they reached the hangar. "Save questions for later," Jack said, helping people into the nearest shuttle. "Just get in." The station shook violently. They were out of time. Jack shoved the last civilian inside and turned to Frank. "Get them out of here. What about you?" "I'll take the second shuttle with the remaining crew. Go." Frank hesitated, then nodded and sealed the hatch. Jack watched the shuttle launch just as the hangar doors began to buckle under some external force. He ran toward the second shuttle where 3 crew members waited. The station rocked again, throwing him against a wall. Metal screamed as the hangar doors were ripped open. A blinding light filled the room. When Jack could see again, strange figures in sleek armor stood in the breach. They weren't human. Their bodies were too tall, too angular. "Run!" Jack shouted to his crew. He grabbed a fallen security officer's weapon and fired at the aliens. They barely flinched as the bullets hit them. One alien raised a device. Jack felt his muscles lock up. He couldn't move as they approached him. The last thing he saw before blackness took him was his crew's shuttle escaping through the broken hangar doors. Jack woke up strapped to a cold metal table. His head pounded. Strange symbols flashed on screens around him. He was on an alien ship. 2 Vexari stood nearby. They looked almost reptilian with scaled skin and vertical pupils. They spoke in clicks and hisses. "The human is conscious," one said in perfect English. Jack tried to hide his surprise. "Why did you attack us? We never did anything to you." The alien tilted its head. "Your species was quarantined for a reason. When you established colonies beyond your planet, the quarantine was violated." "Quarantined? What are you talking about?" The door slid open. Another alien entered, this one wearing elaborate armor with strange symbols. "Enough talking to the specimen," the newcomer said. "The High Command wants this one dissected to understand how they've advanced so quickly." The first alien hesitated. "Commander Krell ordered full biological scans first." "Commander Krell no longer gives orders. The Council has determined humans are too dangerous to study alive." Jack pulled against his restraints. One of them felt slightly loose. The newcomer approached with a gleaming tool. "Humans should have been exterminated centuries ago. Some warned us, but no one listened." As the alien raised the tool, alarms suddenly blared throughout the ship. The aliens turned toward the door. Jack worked his hand free and reached for a nearby instrument. When the aliens turned back, he was ready. 5 years had passed since Earth fell. Jack Harlow crouched behind a broken wall, watching the Vexari patrol march through the ruins of what was once Chicago. His beard was long now, his face scarred from countless fights. The alien soldiers moved in perfect formation, their armor gleaming in the dusty sunlight. "They never learn," whispered Diane Frost beside him. Her dark hair was cut short, practical for war. "Same patrol route, same time, every day." Jack nodded. "That's why we'll beat them. They can't adapt." He signaled to the other members of his team hidden among the rubble. 20 humans against an empire that spanned hundreds of worlds. The odds were impossible, but humans were good at impossible. "Remember," Jack said, We need that officer alive." The Vexari patrol turned the corner. Jack counted down with his fingers. 3, 2, 1. The world exploded into action. Homemade EMP devices disabled the aliens' weapons. Humans swarmed from hiding places, moving faster than the Vexari could react. Their alien biology made them stronger but slower than humans. Jack tackled the officer, a tall Vexari with gold markings on its armor. They crashed to the ground. The alien hissed and clawed at him, but Jack had fought too many of them to make rookie mistakes. He jammed the stun rod against the alien's neck. The Vexari convulsed, then went limp. "Clear!" shouted Frost. The other Vexari soldiers lay stunned or dead. "Package secured," Jack said into his radio. "Bring the transport." Minutes later, they were speeding away in a modified Vexari vehicle. The unconscious alien officer lay bound in the back. "Base, this is Harlow. Mission complete. No casualties." The radio crackled. "Copy that, Harlow. The welcome mat is out." Their base was hidden in an old subway system. Humans had gotten good at hiding. As they drove through the hidden entrance, Jack saw dozens of people working on weapons, communications equipment, and supplies. The resistance had grown. Dr. Marcus Chen met them as they carried in the Vexari officer. "Get him to the secure room. I want to start the interrogation before he wakes up." Jack nodded. "I'll be there in 5. He walked to the command center, a repurposed subway platform covered with maps and stolen Vexari tech. Frost followed him. "The raids are working," she said. "We've hit 12 outposts this month. They're getting nervous." Jack studied the main map. "Not nervous enough, we need to hit them harder." "With what? We're running out of weapons, Jack." He turned to her. "That's why we need this officer. He knows about the communications hub in Detroit. If we can take that, we can listen to every Vexari transmission in this sector." An alarm blared. Jack ran back toward the secure room. Inside, the Vexari officer was awake, straining against his restraints. Dr. Chen stood nearby, looking pale. "What happened?" Jack demanded. "I was scanning him," Chen said. "He woke up faster than expected. But Jack, you need to hear this." The Vexari looked at Jack with its vertical pupils. "Commander Harlow, the one who escaped the flagship. They have been looking for you." Jack stepped closer. "Why? I'm just one human." The alien made a sound like laughter. "Because you were right. The Empire is fracturing because of you humans. Grand Admiral Zex wants your species exterminated immediately. Counselor Thrain argues for caution." "Why would any of you argue for caution?" Frost asked. The Vexari's mouth formed what might have been a smile. "Because some of us remember the old stories. Humans were not quarantined to protect you from us. It was to protect us from you." Jack leaned in. "What do you mean?" "The communications hub you seek," the alien said. "It is not what you think. It is a trap, and you have just activated my tracking beacon." The base alarms suddenly screamed to life. Jack woke up coughing. His lungs burned. The last thing he remembered was the Vexari bioweapon exploding as they raided the communications hub. Green gas had filled the room. His team falling. Darkness. "Stay still, human. The toxin is not fully neutralized." Jack tried to focus. He was in a small room with curved metal walls. Not human design. A tall figure stood over him, scales gleaming under bright lights. "You should be dead," the Vexari said. "Your kind has surprising resilience." Jack tried to move, but restraints held him to the bed. "My team?" "Some survived. The female engineer is particularly stubborn." Relief flooded through Jack. Diane was alive. "Who are you?" Jack asked. "Why save us?" The Vexari touched a control panel. The restraints released. "I am Counselor Thrain, and we need to talk." Jack sat up slowly, muscles screaming in protest. "Talk about what?" "About why my people fear yours so much they would rather destroy you than face you." Thrain led Jack through a ship unlike any Vexari vessel he had seen. Other aliens moved about. not just Vexari. Some nodded respectfully to Jack. "This is a rebellion?" Jack asked. "A coalition," Thrain corrected. "Many species suffer under the Empire." They entered a large chamber. Diane Frost stood at a table covered with strange technology. Her face lit up when she saw Jack. "You're alive!" She rushed to him, grabbing his arm. "I thought we lost you." "What happened?" Jack asked. Thrain gestured to a screen showing a planet. "Grand Admiral Zex deployed a weapon designed specifically to kill humans. My agents extracted your team before it was too late." "Why would you help us?" Jack demanded. Thrain touched a panel. Ancient symbols appeared on the screen. "Because of this, records from 10,000 years ago, the first time the Vexari encountered humans." Jack stared at the symbols. "I can't read this." "It tells of a war," Thrain said. "A terrible war against beings called the Destroyers, beings who looked much like you." Diane stepped closer. "That's impossible. Humans weren't in space 10,000 years ago." "Your history is incomplete," Thrain said. "Deliberately so." Jack felt cold. "What are you saying?" "Humans were not always confined to Earth. Once you traveled the stars, and you were feared." Thrain showed them more images. Ancient battles, worlds burning. "Your species combines violence with empathy in a way no other species does. You kill, but you also save. You destroy, but you create. This makes you unpredictable, dangerous." "If we were so advanced, what happened?" Diane asked. "Something forced you back to your homeworld. The records are unclear, but the Empire found Earth 500 years ago and recognized what you were. They placed your world under quarantine." Jack thought of his dead wife and daughter, the billions killed when the Vexari attacked. "And now they're trying to finish the job." "Yes, but Zex has gone too far, destroying entire planets to hunt you down. Many in the Empire now question his methods." "So you want us to help your rebellion?" Jack asked. "I want you to lead it," Thrain said. "Other species respect humans. They see how you fight against impossible odds." Diane looked at Jack. "We could build a real army. Not just survivors, but a force that could actually win." Jack thought of all the humans who had died, all the sacrifices. "What's the catch?" Thrain's expression changed. "There is something you should see first." They followed Thrain to another chamber. A massive window revealed a blue-green planet below. Jack's heart stopped. "That's Earth." "Yes," Thrain said. "The Empire did not destroy it as you believed. They quarantined it because they found something there, something that terrified them more than humans themselves." The Coalition fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Jupiter. Hundreds of ships, crewed by a dozen different alien species, all united under Jack Harlow's command. Earth hung in the distance, surrounded by a shimmering energy barrier. "Vexari defense grid is active," Diane reported from her station. "Exactly as our intelligence said." Jack stood on the bridge of their flagship, a converted Vexari cruiser they had named Defiance. 2 years of fighting had changed him. His face was harder, his eyes colder. "Any sign they've detected us?" he asked. "No," said Krell, the Vexari scientist who had first helped Jack escape. "The stealth technology is working," Jack nodded. "Launch the strike teams." Small ships detached from the fleet, racing toward Earth. Jack, Diane, and a team of their best fighters boarded one of them. Their mission was simple but nearly impossible. Breach the quarantine shield, find what the Vexari were hiding, and use it to end the war. "You sure about this?" Diane asked as their ship accelerated. "We could be flying into a trap." "We've been fighting blind," Jack said. "Whatever they found on Earth is the key. Thrain is certain of it." Their ship approached the energy barrier. Krell worked the controls, sending coded signals. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a small hole appeared in the shield. "Now!" Jack shouted. The pilot pushed the engines to maximum. They shot through the opening seconds before it closed. Vexari defense platforms immediately opened fire. Evasive maneuvers, Jack ordered. The ship dove toward Earth's surface, weaving between energy beams. They entered the atmosphere, flames licking the hull. Aim for the coordinates, Jack said. The old human city of Cairo. They landed hard in a desert. Sand and dust flew up around them. Jack led his team out, weapons ready. What they saw stunned them. The ancient pyramids were gone. In their place stood massive Vexari research facilities. Alien ships moved between them. "They've been here all along," Diane whispered, "while we thought Earth was destroyed." They moved quietly through the desert, using stealth tech to avoid patrols. As they got closer, Jack saw something strange. The Vexari weren't just building on the surface, they were digging. "Look," Krell said, pointing to a massive excavation. "They're uncovering something." They made their way to the edge of the dig site. What they saw made no sense. Ancient ruins, but not Egyptian. The architecture was unlike anything from human history. Metal structures with symbols that seemed to glow. "What is this?" Jack asked. Krell studied the ruins through a scanner. "These are not Vexari, not any known species, but they're old. Very old." "Older than human civilization?" Diane asked. "Much older," Krell said, "yet the DNA traces are human." Jack felt dizzy. "That's impossible." They found an entrance and slipped inside. The corridors were dark, but somehow Jack knew where to go. It felt familiar, though he had never been here before. They reached a central chamber. Inside was a device, a metal sphere surrounded by rings that slowly rotated. "This is what they're after," Diane said, scanning it. "Some kind of weapon or power source. The energy readings are off the charts." Jack approached the sphere. Strange symbols covered its surface. As he got closer, they began to glow. "Jack, wait," Diane warned. But Jack couldn't stop. He reached out and touched the sphere. The symbols flared bright. The rings spun faster. Jack gasped as images flooded his mind. Stars, planets, battles, humans in ships unlike anything he had seen, humans conquering worlds, humans ruling an empire that spanned the galaxy, and then destruction, a war that nearly ended all life. "Jack!" Diane's voice seemed far away. He turned to her, his eyes wide. "I remember," he said. "I remember everything." "What do you remember?" she asked, frightened by his expression. "Why they fear us," Jack said. "Why they should fear us. We weren't the victims, Diane. We were the monsters." Jack stood in the ancient chamber, his mind burning with memories that weren't his own. Memories of human warships destroying entire planets, of emperors commanding the deaths of billions, of a species that had nearly broken the galaxy. "We need to destroy this," he said, backing away from the sphere. Diane grabbed his arm. "Jack, what did you see?" Before he could answer, the chamber doors burst open. Vexari soldiers poured in, weapons raised. Behind them walked a tall figure in ornate armor. "Commander Harlow," the figure said, "I've waited a long time for this moment." The figure removed its helmet. Jack gasped. The face was human, an old man with cold eyes and a cruel smile. "Who are you?" Jack demanded. "I am Emperor Vex, the last true human emperor." The man approached the sphere. "I see you found our little family heirloom." "You're human?" Diane asked, shocked. One of the few who remembered. Vex touched the sphere lovingly. "When the war ended, most humans were devolved and quarantined on Earth, their memories erased. But some of us survived, hiding, waiting." Jack raised his weapon. "You're the one who ordered the attack on Earth." "I ordered the reclamation of what was ours," Vex corrected. "Humans ruled this galaxy once. We can again." Outside, alarms blared. The Coalition fleet had engaged the Vexari defenses in orbit. "Your friends are dying up there," Vex said. "Join me, Harlow. The sphere has shown you the truth. Humans are meant to rule, not serve. Jack looked at the sphere, then at Diane. Her eyes were filled with fear, not of the Vexari, but of him. "No," Jack said. "I saw what human rule meant. Billions dead, worlds burned, species enslaved or exterminated. That is power," Vex insisted. "That is evil," Jack countered. "And we can be better." Vex sighed. "Then you will die with the rest." He nodded to his soldiers. Jack moved faster than anyone expected. He tackled Vex, sending them both crashing into the sphere. The ancient device activated, bathing the room in blinding light. Jack and Vex fought amid the light. The old Emperor was surprisingly strong. They traded blows as the sphere's energy built around them. "You fool!" Vex shouted. "You could have been a god." "I'd rather be human," Jack replied, landing a solid punch. The sphere pulsed. Jack felt its power flowing through him. Not a weapon, but knowledge. Understanding. He saw the truth now. Humans weren't quarantined as punishment, Jack realized aloud. We chose it. To start over. To learn to be better. Vex laughed bitterly. Weakness. Our ancestors were weak. They were wise, Jack said. He grabbed Vex and pressed him against the sphere. "See the truth!" the Emperor screamed as the sphere's light engulfed him. When it faded, he fell to his knees, weeping. "What have we done?" Vex whispered. Above them, the battle suddenly stopped. The sphere had sent a signal, deactivating the Vexari weapons. Jack helped Diane to her feet. "It's over." "What happens now?" she asked. "We rebuild," Jack said. "Not an empire. Something better." They emerged from the chamber to find the Vexari soldiers standing down. In orbit, the coalition ships held position, no longer under attack. Jack looked up at the sky, thinking of all the species waiting to see what humans would do next. Would they become the monsters they once were? Or something new? "They were right to fear us," Jack said quietly. "But maybe now they can learn to trust us instead." Diane took his hand. "And maybe we can learn to trust ourselves." Together they walked into the sunlight, where a new future waited to be built.